maybe a suggestion, Lee, that the speculation might have had an impact on the player?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, when your head's getting turned, that's certainly being a young man, I think, he's got his opportunity this season where he's coming and he has made that big impact. And obviously, if clubs are talking about big fees of taking him away from me, I think it is. And I think it has been an impact, not just on him, but I think on Ollie Watkins. I've seen Ollie when he came off again today, and I thought he was excellent, to be honest. I thought he held the ball up well.
Minutes.
Yeah, and then he takes him off, and what does Jhon Duran actually bring to the side? This is the big question. Is keeping the two happy. If we're not going to play the two, then...
Well, he has brought goals, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has brought goals, but for me, Watkins is the all-round striker. He's the one that would stay on my side all day long. I think he's still got a lot to learn, Jhon Duran has, but I think with his head being turned, it's one of them, does he have to get the right money for him and get him out the door? Because I'm not listening. I think he will go on and have a fantastic career, but I just think at this moment in time, I'd be keeping Ollie Watkins and maybe stop that disruption, because I think what we've seen from Ollie Watkins last season, he played majority of games and he was massive in the success.
You're going with Jamie's idea, aren't you? Yeah. Sell him.
Yeah, I am. I would. I'd sell him. I would, because it's going to be hard to keep that rhythm going and keep that sort of momentum going with the two centre forward. When you keep chopping and changing,
sub, isn't he? Yeah. Too good to be a sub, and sometimes it works out for everybody. It was a little bit like everyone talks about Cole Palmer when he was at Manchester City, saying, why didn't earth did they sell him? But at the time, it suited everybody. He wasn't playing, he wasn't getting in the team. And I think for him right now, it'd probably be the best thing for him to go and play. If it's not now, it'd certainly be in the summer. But the things that Ollie Watkins did in that first half, the little subtle touches, that's not Jhon Duran's strength either.
Should Villa be concerned right now, Jamie? It feels like it's crunch time in their season, not just in the Premier League. There is a danger they miss out on the top 5. But also crunch Champions League games coming up. And if they do beat Celtic, there is a scenario where they have to play a playoff round in the Champions League. And if they lose, it's more likely that they're going to be playing a playoff, which will add those 2 fixtures in the middle of February as well. Does it feel like a crunch time for Villa's season?
It does, because I think if you think of Newcastle as well, when they got into the Champions League and what happens the season after, it's not easy for these clubs. Once you get in it once, doesn't mean you're going to get in it automatically the next season. I think the Celtic game midweek is absolutely vital to make sure they don't have to play those 2 games, because he's talking about fatigue there. And I think we were speaking beforehand, and the first thing we naturally talk about is the fatigue, playing more games. But I was at a club where we'd be in Europe most seasons, so we got used to playing that. Now, I don't automatically think that the teams at the top are fitter than Aston Villa's players. They're all Premier League players, but I always felt it was a mentality thing. Certainly at times when players came into the club I was at and they weren't used to playing twice a week and it was used to playing once a week, I never felt the physical thing is part of it, of course, but it's the mental thing of actually every 2 days you've got to be ready and focused on the next game, and it's a big game. And also the come down from a Champions League game, yes, physically, but sometimes you go into a Premier League game and there isn't that energy there physically or mentally, but you've got to grind through and you've got to get a result. I was watching this game thinking about that when it was 1-0 second half. This is a game that Villa need to win 1-0 here. They can't play well. It's just big come down, disappointment from Monaco, right back into it against a decent West Ham team. You get over the line, but they couldn't. So I actually think it's a mentality thing. And when you think of what Unai Emery did in the press conference after Monaco, you sort of tapping his head. This is a guy who's been at the top, probably at bigger clubs than probably Aston Villa, and he's had success around Europe. That's probably something that's probably lacking. That's difficult to get.
Do you think that the Champions League has got to be the priority now, rather than worrying about qualifying for next season's competition?
I think they've got a massive opportunity to qualify. I think, listen, they're not going to win the Champions League, that's for sure. So I think, for me, you continue on with the Champions League, but I do feel that top 5 is a massive option for them. And I think, for me, that's where I'd be trying to stem it for. I'd be trying to look at, can we finish top 5? Like I said, the Champions League games, I think they've overrun them. They haven't been used to playing the amount and overload of games. But my main focus would be top 5 for Aston Villa this season.